These are the things we don't think about. We buy all the fancy supplements, we buy all the biohacking things, but we don't consider the fact that we just really need to be snobs about our water and our air. Those are variables we can control. I highly suggest the AquaTrue. There are other water filter companies out there, but there is the difference between your crappy Brita and a good water filtration system. Get your kitchen organized. I realized there was a lot of crap I had in there that I didn't need, that I wasn't using. Really challenge you to eat as many meals at home as you possibly can. It will make all the difference in the world to your health. You are tuned into the Dr. Tina Show with Dr. Tina Moore. For more, visit drtyna.com. On this episode of the Dr. Tina Show, I'm coming to you live from my new house, and I don't have anything set up yet. So you get to look at this awesome white wall behind me, and I've got bright lights upon me. Windows are open. Got some, it's kind of a cloudy day here in Arizona, but I've got just some makeshift lighting, and a makeshift microphone. So bear with me. Hopefully this will all come out high quality and wonderful. What I wanted to share with you today, because so many of you were asking me, was how was the move? How did I do it? How did I escape Oregon? And it got me thinking that I have some tips for you that I think will be valuable for everyone. So even if you aren't planning on a move or you haven't made a move lately, listen in, because I think this entire episode is going to be prudent for you on how to organize your life and your house a little bit better to optimize your health. So let's jump in. Anyway, I took as much time off of my overall work as I could. And so if you haven't noticed, I haven't been on social media. That's not the only reason I left social media, but I took a break, a much needed break from social media. I've been lurking over in my stories on Instagram, but that's about it. And I stepped away and said no to everything. I said no to a multitude of speaking engagements. I hope I'll be invited back, but I might not. I said no to almost every single podcast I was invited on, except for some of my besties I said yes to. But I really took a huge break. I canceled all travel, and I orchestrated this huge endeavor. For me, it was a massive purging. I had to massively purge my life. I had acquired a bunch of crap, not to a hoarding level, I would say more to an overwhelm level. And I did a whole podcast about this. So if that's interesting to you, you can go check out those show notes. It was a few of them back. I'll have the producer and team put the link in the show notes. I had to go through the gauntlet, I call it. And then I had to get here, and then I had to get settled. And in the process of moving here into a new home, this is my first home. I've never owned a home before, so I'm very proud of myself. I feel like a real grown-up. But in the process of moving here, I decided to buy a building space as well. So if things weren't as stressful as they could be, I made them more stressful. We had to get 3 dogs here. And what I did was I rented a pod. I got a big container from 1-800-PACK-RAT. This is not sponsored. They have no idea I'm talking about them. I actually really like the process though. And the reason being is there's a couple different companies that do this. It allowed me to pack it as I wanted. So I took a few months packing it. I had to rent it for that period, which there was an extra cost, but it was worth it to me to be able to just systematically go through all of my crap and load it into the pod. And then I packed a trailer, and we hooked the trailer to the SUV, and we drove here with 3 dogs in the SUV, because with the 3 dogs, there was no room for any luggage. So we needed a trailer anyway, or some kind of top rack, which we did not have at the time. So we loaded the trailer up, and probably like a 6x10, and we got here. And it took us days of driving, and it was a whole thing. And I did not enjoy that part so much. I mean, it was kind of cool, but like, it's not something I would casually do again. There are a lot of people who are like, oh, we just go back and forth every summer. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be doing that drive twice a year, every year. And I honestly have zero desire to ever step foot back in Oregon, which is heartbreaking, but that's a story for another day. I feel like I escaped from behind enemy lines, y'all. That was some licks hanging in there. I tried to hang in there, but I just can't. That state's going to hell in a handbasket, and I had to escape. I feel like I got out of jail. I feel like I can breathe. Anyway, if I haven't lost you on that one, and for those I did lose, good riddance, because living under tyranny is never good for your health. I did a few things to be very strategic about getting into this house and making the transition as seamless as I could for everybody. I wanted to take as much of the load off of my husband as I could. I just wanted him to focus on driving, maneuvering the trailer, which he's very good at. He's good with big equipment, things like that, like really play to his strengths. I wanted to keep the dogs as calm and happy as possible. And I wanted to keep my health up, right? And so what I did was I bought the house in advance. I paid the mortgage for a few months before I ever got here, which was a bit of a bummer, but hey, That's what we got to do. But what I did was I had a few things shipped here to make my life easier. I made sure a few things happened right upon arrival, and then I made sure I unpacked a few things very quickly to get settled in as quickly as possible to keep my health optimized. Because if you know me, you know I do not do well whilst traveling. I do not do well eating road food. I do not thrive not being able to prepare food in my kitchen. I don't do well with other people's food, and I don't do well with random ingredients I can't control for. So I try to control the variables I can and, deal with the ones I can't. But my immune system gets funny. I swell up. I have gut issues. Like I could eat the wrong meal for lunch and I'm in trouble for 24 hours, just swelling and alert, histamine. And I'm just a sensitive girl. And hey, it is what it is. So that said, I made sure to do a few things and I want to go through them with you because I got to thinking this would be helpful information for all of you. Because these are the things that you should probably all have organized and set up in your house. All of us. And if we can't do it all today, that's okay. We can start, right? We can do one thing at a time. I will tell you just for clarification, because I never really talk about this, but when I opened my practice in 2008, I had no money. I was going through a divorce. I filed bankruptcy within months. I had 2 schools worth of medical school bills to pay back. And I had to build that entire practice on cash. I ended up filing bankruptcy and I had to build that entire empire on cash, meaning I had no credit cards. My parents had no money to give me. There was no wealth in the family. They helped me how they could, but like my parents paid for my boards when I graduated because I couldn't afford them. I couldn't afford to become a doctor. It was rough, and I had to piecemeal it together, I say. And then years later, when I built out my home gym, I know it's not the same thing, but it was the same thing. Like I could not undertake the cost of a home gym. So I just went piece by piece by piece. And I really think that's how our health is. I share this because that is how our health is. We often look at these protocols and these, what the influencers are saying and the biohacking and all of that. And it's like, oh, I have to have all these things. And it's really overwhelming. You don't. Just start with one piece and build from there, right? Just start with one thing. We learned this early on in medical school. When you see an elephant, you can't eat it all in one bite, right? You got to eat it in bites. You can't just do it all at once. Same thing with an apple. You can't shove an apple down. You got to take bites of it and get to the core. So same thing with your health. Same thing with setting up an optimal, healthy home. And so these are some of the things I did. Number 1, I made sure a water filter was shipped here to get here, to be here by the time I entered the door. And so thank you to my podcast producer, Drake. He made sure that there was an AquaTrue water filter. I got the glass carafe for this house. I have the big plastic one for my home in Oregon, and I don't love the plastic. And so we got a glass carafe one here. And it's lovely. And we go, we drink a lot of it between watering 3 dogs and watering ourselves. It's a lot of water, but we just fill that little guy back up and we love it. And if you like your water cold, you can put it in the refrigerator, the glass carafe. And so I think it's a really beautiful water filter. I highly suggest it. It's in my holiday gift guide. I'll make sure to link that as well. But the water filter is a good price and Black Friday sales are happening right now. So when this comes out, so get on it and get yourself a good water filter. Good water filtration is non-negotiable. Good air and good water. They really are. These are the things we can't see. These are the things we don't think about. We buy all the fancy supplements, we buy all the biohacking things, but we don't consider the fact that we just really need to be snobs about our water and our air. Those are variables we can control for all the toxic soup that we live in and all the nonsense we have to put up with from big companies and big agriculture and big food and big pharma and all the BS. We can control if we can clean our air and we can clean our water as best we can, right? And so I highly suggest the AquaTrue. There are other water filter companies out there, but there is the difference between your crappy Brita and a good water filtration system. This one has reverse osmosis. It's got a 3-carbon filter system. There are under sink water filter systems you can use too, but make sure that you have like 4 to 5 steps, right? 3 minimum, 4 in some of the under sink. There's even 5 steps to the under sink that you can get. So filter your water. The Brita that you fill up, that you buy for $30, that you fill up and put in your fridge, is garbage. The water filter system on your refrigerator, people think, oh, I got a water filter system built into my fridge. That's no good either. In most cases, that's no good. I'm not trying to rain on anyone's parade, but get yourself a good water filter. I like the AquaTrue. I will make sure my affiliate link is in the show notes, and you don't even have to put on a coupon code. It'll just link you through, and they're just having outstanding Black Friday and holiday sales right now. So check it out. Get yourself a good water filter. That is an appropriate size filter, I think, for an apartment, for a home, for a young person. It makes a great gift. I think getting a good quality air or water filter as a young person, trust me, they will appreciate it. Your college students, especially if your kids are in the dorms, get them a good water filter and a good air filter. That's the second thing I did. Conveniently, Mike from Jasper, who you may have heard on the podcast last week, he was in Arizona, in Scottsdale, when I arrived, and I live near Scottsdale. And so I met up with him. His team was there. They were at an event, and he was kind enough to gift me several air filters for my new home. So between that and the ones I brought, I have an air filter in every single room in my home. And this is just a non-negotiable. I am a full-on air snob at this point, and I'm so grateful to have them. I'll tell you a story. We stopped in Winnemucca in Nevada. I love that name, Winnemucca, Nevada. Really cool little town. We stayed at this really cool hotel that was reminiscent of Vegas in the 80s, 70s and 80s when I was growing up. And we used to go to Vegas a lot to visit my family. And the room they put us in, beautiful little clean hotel, but the rooms they put us in had been allocated for the people with dogs. And it was a little damp in there, like the air conditioning and the way that it was situated. The room was like, oh God. I walked in and my husband looked at me like he can live or sleep anywhere and he's fine. But he looked at me and he was like, oh no, are you going to be able to handle this? And I was like, yep, because I got the Jasper. So the Jasper came with us in the trailer, and we pulled that thing out and put it in every hotel room. And I'll tell you, we put the Jasper in, we plugged it in. I'm looking over there because there's my Jasper. Beautiful machine. Go listen to last week's podcast. We also did a podcast last year that you can go listen to. Go listen to it. Jasper is just a premier machine. They're steel. They're good looking. They're quiet. They have a feature where you can turn off the lights, which the other companies do not have. And I just think they're a far superior machine. I do love some of the other air filter companies. If you have them, you don't have to switch to Jasper, but make sure you have a good quality air filter. Go listen to last week's episode. I put that machine in the room. We left the room for a minute. We came back. The room was not wet anymore, and it was way more tolerable smelling. Like the air just wasn't as dense. So the Jasper is an air scrubber. And I am not kidding you. I have checked that thing into my luggage when I board planes, and I travel with it sometimes, depending on where I'm going. I travel with my gigantic Jasper. They're not that heavy, and my husband understands it's better than me getting sick in a room and having to be stuck there with me. So that's just how we did it. So I got a Jasper for every single room in this house. I am so grateful to the team over there. They're a great team. The work they're doing in the world is fantastic. It's a really good company to support. They're on our team, if you know what I mean, Team Freedom. And they are just a bunch of great guys, Canadians who escaped and moved to the US, and they're doing great things in the world. So I'll make sure to have that link in the show notes. I believe it's jasper.co/Dr. Tina or .com/Dr. Tina. I have to check. And you can use Dr. Tina at the checkout. That code will get you really phenomenal discounts. They're doing a huge discount right now for my followers in particular. So very generous of them, and they're doing some Black Friday stuff. So if you shop right now, you're going to get easily the best deal of the year. And the heavy discount on my code is because the podcast released last week. So get on it because it's not going to last very long. So anyway, pick up a few if you can, but definitely get yourself one for the room that you sleep in. Definitely get yourself one for the room your children sleep in. If you have a baby, if you have a newborn baby, they have a whole special going that you can hear about on the podcast. So check it out. Great, great, great stuff. So I made sure I had clean air and clean water upon arrival here, period. That was it. I have crazy desert allergies, and that's hence the bags under my eyes, which never seem to go away anymore. Thank you, middle age. I just absolutely, didn't want to get my immune system rocked. Let's just put it that way. And I have a funny immune system. So I made sure I had clean air and clean water. Full stop. All right. So the next thing that I did that made this so much easier was I got my kitchen unpacked. Now, why did I do that? That was the first thing I unpacked when I got the pod. First thing I did. I unpacked the kitchen because I, by that time, had been eating road food and food out of the house for weeks. And it was starting to show. Like, I was not feeling good. I was getting groggy, head fog, not sleeping well, stomach issues. Like, I don't know how you rock stars do it. My podcast producer goes on tour every year. He's in a band. He's a rock star. And I don't know how he does it for lengths of time. I can't do it. It just does not suit me well. And so I got my kitchen unpacked so I could cook my food at home. That's just a non-negotiable. How does that apply to you if you're not someone who's moving? Get your kitchen organized. Because as I packed my kitchen in Oregon, I realized there was a lot of crap I had in there that I didn't need, that I wasn't using, that was making my ability to prepare food just more complicated. And it was cluttery, you know? And so moving forced me obviously to downsize. And then I didn't want to haul all that crap. And then I got it here and I put it away and I organized it in a kitchen that was nice and spacious. And I realized, like, wow, a well-organized kitchen really makes a big difference. So get your kitchen organized. And I want to encourage you and even challenge you in 2026. I want to really challenge you to eat as many meals at home as you possibly can. It will make all the difference in the world to your health. And in fact, if you're trying to get your health together and you're on a health journey, it is not going to be possible to optimize that if you're eating out all the time. So try to cook at home, learn to cook. I'm a terrible cook, you guys. I'm going to try to cook more now that I have this beautiful kitchen, and I'm way happier here and I have way more energy here. And I feel like 1,000,000 pounds of lead has come off of me. Have any of you ever gotten a divorce from a really shitty marriage? And you felt like, when you go to the dentist and they put those heavy lead aprons on you before they x-ray you, and then the apron comes off and you're like, oh, I can breathe. That's how getting a divorce from a shitty relationship feels like. And that is how leaving Oregon felt. I really thought I was going to cry the whole road trip. I was so concerned that I was going to just like break down on the first day, that I took all these supplements to like squelch my cortisol down, and I didn't cry once. In fact, every day I felt more and more and more freedom. I felt more lead aprons coming off of me. And I just feel like I can breathe again. So anyway, get your kitchen organized though. It's invaluable. Know where your stuff is. You don't need as many pots and pans and spoons and gadgets as you think you do. Just keep it simple, and let's learn to cook in 2026. And thankfully my husband prepares food at home for me because I'm incompetent, but I'm going to work on it more. All right. Next thing up, I unpacked my supplements. Now you're thinking, what does that matter? Because I am a naturopathic physician and my supplements are my tools. They are my medicine in many ways. Now I have a lot of very cool tools in my tool belt, but I use my supplements strategically, and I need to know where they are, because you never know what you might need them for. I need to know where my supplements are. I'm a little OCD about that. Any of you who are naturopathic doctors or holistic practitioners probably have a whole closet full of supplements. And any of you who have online followings and work with brands, probably 1,000,000 supplements sent to you all the time. And any of you who are new into the health journey probably keep buying supplements, and your supplements are chaotic and they're disorganized. So here's what I did. I have a separate cabinet for my supplements, and my supplements are in bins. There's one bin of the things I take every single day. There's one bin for the things that I specifically need. Like I have like a whole gut protocol that I will rotate through. So I have all my gut supplements in one bin. I have all my peptides in another bin. I know where things are. I write on the top of the bottles what they're for. So many of you end up, I cannot tell you the amount of patients that would come in with literally giant plastic bins full of supplements and say, I have gotten these supplements over the years and from various practitioners and various, now it's all of you guys hearing us and buying supplements online, and then you don't remember what they're for. So write on the packaging what it's for, why did you buy it? Mark it on the lid so you have it. I even mark my dosage on the lid, so it's really easy for me. So then I can just pull out my bin and look down, and I'm like, oh, that's that, and I need that for that. Okay. So I'll tell you, on the countertop, we have a couple different things that both my husband and I take. So that stays on the counter, just in a little area. It's not messy, but I will tend to let my supplements overtake my counter space. And I know many of you can relate. I have found that supplements down low with writing on the lids is easier for me to navigate than a whole cupboard up full of supplements. Most of us find a cupboard and we fill it, but we can't see what's behind the bottles and it gets really chaotic. So again, just like your kitchenware, organize your supplements. Another pearl is to have a separate closet for the supplements that you're rotating through or that are backup. And so I have a supplement closet, and then I have my supplement area in the kitchen or wherever it is that you want to have your supplements. Do not keep them in your bathroom. The moisture in there is not good for them. Do not keep them on sunny counters where they're getting hit with a lot of sun. That's it. Keep them in a dry, cool, dark place. All right. So get your supplements organized, get your life organized, get your kitchen organized, get your air filter, get your water filter. Those things are important. All right. Next up, I very quickly unpacked and organized my workout equipment. Why did I do this? Because I am batshit crazy if I don't get regular exercise in. I act like a crazy person. I feel like a crazy person. I become more emotional. I get snippier. I am unhappy. I do not tolerate stress as well. I do not handle situations as well when I'm not somewhat active. Doesn't have to be crazy active, but I got to have a little bit of activity in my day. So before I put my brand new, beautiful reformer together, I love my reformer. Oh, I love it. But before I put that together and got that ready, which has been a godsend since I made sure I knew where my kettlebells were. I knew where, even if it's a couple dumbbells, I had my TRX or a suspension trainer, whatever it may be, I had it organized, my bands, the basic stuff. I want to encourage you to make all of you have some kind of exercise equipment at home. Even if it's just a little corner. In the Strong First Kettlebell community, they call it the courage corner. So you have your little courage corner where you're going to go build your courage. And just, again, one thing at a time. Just one thing at a time. If you go to my Amazon store, I'll put the link in the show notes. If you go to my Amazon store, you'll see a category that says Get Strong. And there's a lot of options in there. There's bands, there's dumbbells, there's kettlebells, there's suspension trainers that don't cost $200. If you don't want to pay for the TRX, you can buy something just as effective for a lot less money that you hook in the door. There's mats, there's all kinds of things, but have a little courage corner in your house, all of you, and buy one piece of equipment at a time. You can even do hip thrusts at home. There's a little band in there called the Bella Band, I think, and you can put 2 kettlebells or 2 dumbbells on one on either side and hook it into this Velcro thing, and then you can hip thrust, so you can build your booty. There's all kinds of ways to do this, but it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to take up a bunch of space. It doesn't need to be cost prohibitive. Again, just one thing at a time. I built my kettlebell collection, which is fairly decent at this point, one bell at a time. And every year I bought myself a new bell. In the years where I was more successful, I bought bigger bells that were more expensive. In the years when I was a little leaner, I bought smaller bells, but I got my set of bells. You really just need to start with like 3, right? If I were a female starting over, I'd get an 8 kilo, a 10 kilo, and a 12 kilo. That's where I would start. If you're stronger, I would make sure you have like a 14 or a 16 that you can do goblet squats with. But honestly, start low and build yourself up. And men will use even those smaller kettlebells. It's all about the tension you create. So it's really not as much about, oh, this isn't enough weight for me. So build your little courage corner and get your workout equipment organized. And if you have too much shit lying around that you aren't using, get rid of it. Trust me, purging is therapeutic. So take it to the Goodwill, let someone else enjoy it. It'll make someone else happy, and make sure that you are using the equipment you have. And if you're not, maybe you just need to get back on the horse. But if you're still not, and you bought it and you're like, I don't use this, I don't like it. If you don't like it, you're not going to use it. Everybody has one of those stupid ab rollout things for the floor. I don't know anyone that is actually strong enough to do that correctly. Like, that is a very strength necessary skill set. Like you have to have an incredible amount of core integrity to be able to do a rollout without compromising your low back. So get rid of the stuff you don't want and organize your courage corner. All right. And write that down. Courage corner. That's your little courage corner. Don't let anyone else go in there if you don't want it. That can be your little corner of the house. It doesn't need to be a whole room. You don't need a whole workout room. Just need a good mat and a couple things that are heavy and some creativity. And the internet is There's a plethora of workout programs. I have one. I have a low-cost workout program called the Strength Corner. Guess where I got that name from? That's your Strength Corner. And it's great. Like, it'll get you started. It'll get you started. If you are new to this journey and you're like, you know what, I really got to start strength training, go grab my Strength Corner. I'll make sure the link is in the show notes. What else did I do? Oh, bonus. You got to know this one. I moved to the desert predominantly to get more light. That was a huge part of my move here, was not just sun, but actual light. I realized over the years that I was heavily light deprived, and it was indeed killing me. And I have studied light extensively. I don't talk about it a lot because there are so many light gurus out there, and there are some that are better than others, and there are some that are just fantastic. My friend Sarah Kleiner is a great one to follow. She's been on the pod before. Light is so critical, and we will die without it. And I was dying. I was just dying away in Oregon in the light deprived darkness of that state. And then it energetically started matching the way it looked, and I had to go because it's just a demon, truly a demon den. Oregon has truly turned into a demon den. So I had to get somewhere where the light was. And I cannot express to you how different it is to wake up to sun. That has been such a game changer for me. But all that to say, it was crazy to me when nighttime came and we turned on the lights in this house, and this house was like chock full of LEDs. LEDs everywhere, LED cans in the ceiling, LED bulbs in every, outlet, like everything was LED. And I was like, what the actual hell? Like, this is literally light poisoning. This is like LED poisoning. And they were all set to bright white. They weren't even set to amber. And it was appalling. And I freaked out. I had totally not prepared for it. I had not considered it. I had not seen this house in the dark, to be honest with you. And I was like, oh my God, we have to fix this immediately. And kind of panicking, to be truthful. And my husband's an electrician, and he's like, hold on, I'll help. He went through all the LED cans. The ones that we can change out, we're going to change back to regular bulbs. The ones that we cannot, he went in, you can usually pull a cord down. You can remove the canister and you can pull a cord down and you can set it to amber. You can set it to as amber as it'll go. And so we set it to amber and we shoved them all back up. And that made a huge difference. That was much better. I immediately ordered a ton of non-toxic candles off of Amazon and got a bunch of candles in here. So we were sitting under candlelight for the first several nights. And then I ordered incandescent bulbs, and it's a bit of a problem. Thanks to the Biden administration, incandescent was outlawed essentially. So regular bulbs in incandescent form are virtually impossible to find unless you buy something that's decorative or serves a utility type purpose, like a warming lamp or a lamp or a bulb for an oven or a nightlight or something like that. So I had to get creative, but I did find myself some incandescents, and most of them are quite amber and decorative, but they're beautiful. But they at least have that regular, I think it's like E26 regular area that, it screws in like the regular size for a regular lamp. And so I switched out all the bulbs very quickly. I got on Amazon and I ordered it. I ordered a lot. And I had them all shipped here quickly. In the meantime, the pod was on its way. And in the pod was an extensive amount of incandescent bulbs, because when I found out, I think it was 2023, when they got outlawed. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life, by the way. That is going to do more damage to human beings' health than anything anybody could imagine. It's terrible. Anyway, while they were censoring me, they were poisoning me with light, right? I bought thousands of dollars worth of light bulbs back in 2023, incandescent, because I just was like, there's no version of this where I'm going to die under LED. So I had never lived in a house that wasn't incandescent lit. I had never, ever lived somewhere where it was all LED overhead. And this was terrible. So I can only imagine that most of the houses around here are lit that way. And I would suspect most of the houses in the United States are now lit that way. And all new buildings are lit that way. So, and my husband confirms this, and as an electrician who's done commercial build and residential build. And dude, you guys, do whatever you can. Set your LEDs to amber, put incandescents where you can, buy floor lamps, find the decorative incandescent bulbs and put them in. I know it's expensive at this point, but like, we got to do what we got to do, because this was some bullshit. Honestly, I was like, what have I done? I moved into this beautiful house and I'm going to die from LED poisoning. So yeah, fortunately we have really great light and really great windows during the day, and I can do most everything without a light on me. But and I'm outside a lot too, but man, do what you can, because it's really important. The other thing I'll add is my husband made a great point. He said, it's funny because, well, almost criminal actually. Remember about like a decade or so ago? I mean, gosh, I was in college, I think, or maybe had my daughter was very young. I mean, it was in those somewhere in my 20s. I remember Portland General Electric sending out a bunch of free LED bulbs. They were like brand new and they really wanted us all to convert. And I remember screwing them in and thinking like, oh, these are awful, and quickly throwing them away. And I had the privilege of having worked with my mentor, who was a naturopathic physician. So I knew way back in the 90s how important light was. And I remember also being told that our electrical costs were going to go down, and that's why we were switching to LED. So that was the scam. They told us all back 30 years ago almost, that if we converted to LED, that we would have less electrical pull on the grid and we would all save money. We would reap the benefits of less electrical usage. Well, I don't know about you, and maybe it was just an Oregon thing, but my electric bill is through the frickin' roof. So I don't know what's going on, but I don't think costs went down. And in fact, as I was purging my life over the past few months, I went through all of my old paperwork, and I happened to have a few random electrical bills from way back, and they were a lot less money than I'm paying now. So I think it's all kind of been a big scam. And in the meantime, we're all being poisoned under LEDs. You can go look it up. I'm not making this up. I'll have more light gurus on to talk about it. But yeah, the LED thing, not so good for our health. So there's a bonus for you. Wherever you move, fix that. And if you're currently living under them, fix that. Do what you can. Don't panic. Do what you can. Again, one thing at a time. Start with switching them out to the amber. It's very easy to pull those cans out of the ceiling. You just have to get up on a ladder and you have to get your little fingernails under it and just kind of pull it down. It's not a big deal. They come out quite readily. And there's a cord up there in most cases, and you can just switch that to very cool light, which is very white and very like to your nervous system, or you can switch it to amber and you'll feel much better. So start there and then gather incandescents as you can. And you can find them on Amazon. There's a company called Globe. Again, no affiliation, GLOBE. Maybe I'll put them in one of my categories in my Amazon store. I think it's amazon.com/shop/Dr. Tina. I think that's my Amazon store. Anyway, Globe makes some really nice amber, beautiful decorative bulbs, and they have the cool coils in them that are like coiled really cool, and they glow the most beautiful amber color. So something to think about. Another thing you can do is red lights. And I'll put a link to my favorite red light. It is an LED red light emitting box. It's by Loombox, and they're having a fantastic Black Friday sale right now. But also Sauna Space, you maybe have heard me talk about it. I think it's called the Glow Lamp. They sell, so their saunas are like these big red bulbs. Such a great sauna, you guys. But they sell these bulbs individually, and they screw onto a beautiful wooden platform, and it's a beautiful setup. I did not bring them with me on this trip, but I will go back to Oregon and get them. You can set them on your desk. They emit heat too, which is really nice in the winter, but they are a beautiful light. And it's very nice to have, like, I'm looking at my computer right now. If I had a red light, even an LED red light, adjacent kind of coming into my eyes, it would take the eye strain down significantly. Like, it would really make the eye strain much more comfortable if you're on your computer all day. So having some kind of red light around is helpful. There are red light bulbs. I bought 4 red light incandescent bulbs about a year ago off Amazon. They were the last ones that I could get a hold of, and I have not seen any anywhere since. All the red light bulbs I've seen are LED now. So I don't know, maybe I got the last 4 red light bulbs in the world, but they are, I feel like I'm hoarding light bulbs, you guys. It's crazy. It's crazy. I need incandescent to come back. Trump promised incandescents to come back. At least that was part of what I heard. And I was like, yo, where are my incandescents? Why is my gas so high and where are my incandescents? Why are the eggs so expensive still? I know that not any one president can fix that. This isn't about politics. This is where I'm at in the world. I'm like, I just want my food to be affordable, my gas to be affordable. I don't drive that much. And I would like my incandescence back more than anything. And of course, freedom of speech. So I will leave you with that. I do want to update you because some of you have asked. I moved here. The other big reason I moved here is because I live with chronic pain. And it's not anything that's something structural that can be fixed. It can be tinkered with, but it's very much a systemic inflammatory type process. And I've been dealing with it for 25 years now. And it's gotten worse and 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 worse. And every year, every winter, it's much worse in the winter. And every winter I'm like, I'm too old for this shit. I gotta move. I gotta get out of here. Like, what am I doing? Why am I living here? And then COVID hit and Oregon went nuts. And I was like, what am I doing here? These people are crazy. I don't want to live in this. Like, I'm virtual. My whole life is virtual. I literally fit everything I needed for the podcast in one little bin, like a small bin, plastic bin. It wasn't anything big. I'm like, I can do this from anywhere. What am I doing? And so finally I made the move. And my biggest fear was that I would get here and my pain would not go down because I was banking on it, like literally banking on it, like spent my life's fortune to buy a house so that I could have my pain go down. And it's working. My pain is so much better. And I don't think it's just the dryness and the sun and the heat. I know that's a huge part of it. I think it's because I got out of a situation I really didn't want to be in that state. I just didn't want to be in Oregon anymore. I did not want to live under tyranny and socialism. And so getting out of there has just been like, such a breath of fresh air. So if you are feeling like your health is crumbling and you hate where you live, I really want to encourage you to consider devising a plan. This was about a 5-year plan for me. And I acted on it, and it took a lot, and it was very emotional, and it was expensive, and it was scary, and it was all the things, and it was a lot of work. But I don't regret a bit of it, and I am so grateful that God gave me the resources and the energy and just the wherewithal to make it happen, because I had to get out of there. And I felt like it was, I remember probably, I think it was January of 2025. I remember I talk to God, you guys. I have conversations, and I got a very clear hit when I was praying that if I spent another winter in Oregon, I was going to die. Like, it felt that urgent. And so I immediately went into action with such urgency. It was like someone lit a fire under my butt. And I had such urgency to get out of there. And it was like the clock was ticking, and October was going, and it was like, the month was just being chewed up. And my husband's like, well, we could stay a few more weeks. And I'm like, I have to leave before winter. So I did. I got out. We left October 31st. And thank God, truly, thank God. And thanks to everybody, all of you who supported me and everybody who cheered me on, because that helped so much. You guys were like, you're going to feel so much better. It's going to be so much better. It's going to be so great. And all of you who escaped the West Coast and moved somewhere sane and dry and warm and free, all of you kept messaging me saying, it's so much better. You won't even believe how much you put up with, how much nonsense you were putting up with, and how much better it is when you're not in it. So, and you guys are right. Like, I live in a place where people pretty much leave you alone, and it's glorious. So thank you to everybody, and thank you to God, and hallelujah. So I will leave you with that. I hope this is helpful. At the very least, get yourself a good water filter. Buy it for yourself for a Christmas present if you must. Buy your husband an air filter. Get yourself some workout equipment and keep it organized. Organize your kitchen and use it. And make sure you have your supplements and all your biohacking gear. Like, don't let it become a thing, like a mountain of stress. It's designed for wellness. Keep it simple, keep it actionable, and keep it organized. So I will leave you with that. I'll talk to you guys later. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and much love to you all. Ozempic, Mounjaro, also known as semaglutide or tirzepatide. These are all GLP-1 agonists, and they are being used for type 2 diabetes and weight loss. And we are going to dig into it because I have been knee deep in the research, and I honestly think these drugs are absolute miracle drugs. First of all, These drugs are getting a really bad rap, you guys. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. I have my theories.